Hey there. I've just finished assembling my new SawStop PCS. So that means it's time for my first project. I'm going to be making an entryway shoe storage rack. It's going to allow me to demonstrate a few different aspects of the saw for you. I'll be showing you dado cuts, I'll be showing you cross cuts, and I'll be trying out the new Revolution miter gauge.
I start with setting my saw to 29 inches. This allows me to cut a larger piece of plywood down, and setting up my shelves for the shoe rack at 29 inches allows me to cut a dado slot 1/4 inch deep in the plywood and get an overall width of 30 inches, which is what I need for my space. All the pieces will be milled down to 11.5 inches deep, which will give me the ability to store adult and kid-size shoes on the same rack. The legs will have the grain going vertically so that when I edge band, it makes it appear as though they're solid pieces of wood. So I decided to use my miter gauge for the cross cuts. It's nice because you can set your flip stop for repeatable cuts, and it's honestly much safer on these skinnier boards to use a gauge so that you're not going to bind up against your fence. Now that all the plywood is milled down, I need to swap out my normal blade and brake for the dado blade and brake. I've never swapped out my brake before, let alone with a dado brake. Essentially, all you're going to do is twist that red knob, remove that piece, and then you're going to put in the new brake and reinsert it. After that, you're going to figure out how thick your plywood is, and then you're going to decide on which of the shims you're going to use with your blades. I had to go for 18 millimeters for the plywood that I chose, and that means I have to leave off the arbor washer and just use the nut. It will advise you in the manual how to do so, and then you're going to adjust the saw blade depth so that you can have space between the blade and the brake. And then I install my zero clearance dado stack insert. Slowly turning the knob after you turn on the saw, you raise the blade through the insert, and this keeps you at a distance from the blades, but prevents any tear out from your cuts. Now I make the first pass, and I check the dado with a scrap piece. Now I can measure with the fence and ensure that my remaining dados are all at the correct measurement, so that this shelf will fit all my shoes. Now when it comes to assembly, I picked my favorite wood glue, and I'm putting all the pieces in one side and then filling the other with glue and adding it on top. This is going to prevent me from trying to slide shelves in and make a big mess everywhere. Afterwards, I clamp it down in a few spots, and then very critical that you check for square at this point to ensure your shelves will be solid. Now that it's all dried up, I'm going to open up my edge banding, and a little trick I like to do is I only pull my edge banding from inside the roll. That way, if I drop it or set it down, it doesn't just completely unspool on me. Then I make my cut just a little bit longer than I'm going to need and iron them on separately. And this allows me to not have to be holding the roll and making a perfect cut. Because I used edge banding, I'm able to apply stain to this shelf and then coat it with a durable polyurethane so that it matches my decor but also lasts a very long time. Thanks for watching, and I hope it helps you come up with your own shelf design.